Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm Jonathan London, your host. If this is your first Geekscape, strap yourselves in for some pop culture talk, movies, video games, comic books, TV, video games, all of that pop culture goodness that you can fit into your noggin, over the course of the next 45 minutes to an hour. We've been doing this show for 19 years now. About 19 years. Let's do the math. Carry the one. All right, multiply by start of the show and late 2006. It's now late. Okay, it's late 2024. So let's go with 18 years on the Geekscape. This is the 18th year of Geekscape. Oh my God! Wait. If we did the entirety of 2007, and now we're into, you can't. It's additive. So no, I think we're in our 19th year of Geekscape, or 19th full year of Geekscape, or 18th full year of Geekscape, whatever it is. We've been doing this for a long time. I've had some amazing people on the show. This episode is no different. I've got two amazing comic book creators here on the show, and I cannot wait to talk comics. And there's been a lot going on in the Geekscape. We didn't have an episode last week. I had an episode scheduled. We couldn't get it together. Little technical difficulties. It was a pretty intense week last week. I think I can speak for everyone on the planet Earth when I say that. And this week, I'm paying for it. I've got this episode. We're talking comics, and then maybe by the end of the week, you guys are gonna have a little bonus episode with actor Dash Mihawk. He's got a brand new movie coming out, and I hadn't heard that name in a while. I'm a fan of his, but funny enough, one of the Geekscape has started talking in our Geekscape Forever group on Facebook, and he was on Facebook mentioning this movie White Boys from the 90s. And Dash Mihawk's in it along with former Geekscape multiple guest Mark Weber. And it's the thing where the white kids are acting like rappers. There's a movie from the 90s. I don't know if it's funny or not, but it's called White Boys. And Dash Mihawk's coming on to talk about some movie called Armor that releases soon. But I'm going to see if I can just talk some White Boys while we're at it. Because Geekscape Forever. I got to look out for the Geekscapists. That stuff came up. I'm going to talk about it. And sad news for former Geekscape guests, Tony Todd died. We got to talk about that because early in the Geekscape, I think this is 2007, 2008, I did an interview with Tony Todd alongside Robert Englund. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's on my early personal YouTube page, where early on when we hadn't really cohesively started making a Geekscape YouTube, that stuff would just show up on my personal page. I'm going to make a note to rip that, find the video on a hard drive, and then I'm going to put it on Geekscape TV, which is the youtube.com/Geekscape TV. It's a conversation about that movie Hatchet. It was a wonderful horror movie from Adam Green called Hatchet, and both Tony Todd and Robert Englund are in it, and they sat down with baby Jonathan to talk about it. It's one of the times that Robert Englund's been on the show, and when I saw that news, I was like, oh no. Tony Todd was young, and that really stinks. We've lost some serious kings this year, and as we get to the end of the year, I'm crossing my fingers. Please, can we just hang tight through the rest of 2024? Can we just keep it together and not have any more L's? Because we've taken a few this year. Speaking of more Geekscape stuff, and then we're gonna start the show, I promise. Selling Superman. That's the documentary that became a docuseries. I think it started as a film, and then Adam Schomer and Darren Watts, who's the subject of the movie, Adam's the director, they came on in 2023 and talked about the story of Darren's family inheriting the most valuable, not the most valuable, but it's one of the most valuable comic book collections on the planet. He lives in Detroit. His father was, I don't want to say hoarder, and his father really kept the kids out of rooms in the house where he was collecting not just comics but baseball cards, collectibles, all sorts of stuff. And he had all sorts of, he had disorders. It was a tough father. And that episode is in the feed where I talked to Adam and Darren about this documentary that they were putting together at the time, Selling Superman, because upon the death of Darren's father, Darren finally goes into these rooms and he starts seeing the comic book collection that he's got. And every nook and cranny of this house started to have these comics in them. And in it, he finds a Superman #1 that is one of the two highest rankings of CGC rated Supermans on the planet. That's a multi-million-dollar book. There's a Batman #1. There's all sorts of multi-million-dollar titles in that collection. And then beyond that, there's like 50, 100 copies of really valuable issues that came in the most recent decades, even like the 80s, like things like, Frank Miller and Chris Claremont's Wolverine #1. I saw that thing the other night because it was a Selling Superman LA premiere I went to on Sunday. And I saw the first 3 episodes of what is now a 4-part docuseries. Geekscape's in the 4th episode. I have not brought myself to watch it yet because I'm like, I don't know if I want to see myself, But that being said, I got to watch it because the first 3 episodes are incredible. And if you guys want to hear this story where Darren overcomes some real trauma, I mean, he's going through some real trauma with the death of his father, but then the relationship he had with a father who, I'll let you watch the documentary, but it was not an easy man to live with. And then inheriting this stuff and all the mixed emotions that come with it, it's a legacy. And how do you sell this legacy? And do you sell this legacy? Would you sell Superman #1, or would you keep it because it's a piece of history? There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this documentary, and some of it's funny. The characters, when he goes to conventions, when Darren goes to conventions, start meeting some of these people who might be able to help him move this. Darren's not a comic book guy. His father was. And as he's going into this stuff, discovering comic books and comic book collecting, he's like a fish out of water, and he's learning this stuff. And he's got his friend Brian, who was also at the Geekscape booth in 2023 filming some of this documentary. Brian's like leading him through this stuff. He's a huge comic book fan. He's like looking at these books come out of these boxes saying, oh my God, you got this. Oh my God, you've got one of these. You got one of these. I mean, these books are so valuable. And this documentary is beautiful and heartwarming, but also hilarious. And Adam just did such a great job with the team. And I can't recommend it enough. Selling Superman. Look it up on, I think, sellingsuperman.com. You can start watching all 4 episodes right now. If you go to tinyurl.com/selling Geekscape, that's a great way to find it. But ultimately, I'm so proud to be a part of this. I haven't even seen the part that we're a part of, but I'm so proud to be a part of this because this is one that when the comic book community finds out about this, when the pop culture community really starts passing this docuseries about, like around, they're going to be like, holy shit, have you seen Selling Superman? And we're here on the ground floor. It's a beautiful story. And even if it wasn't about comics, it would be a beautiful story. But it's about freaking comics. It's so cool. And we'll be talking about it for some time, not just on this show, but maybe some of the other shows across the Geekscape network. So you're in the right place. All right. I've got my buddy Joey Galvez. He's got a brand new Geek Culture magazine up on Kickstarter. I can't wait. That sounds fucking cool. So I had to invite them onto the show because we need some cool, like, grassroots from the fans, like Geek Culture magazines to talk about the comics and all the geek culture from us. And then we've got Jayel Draco on, and he's got this comic book anthology up that you're going to want to help out with. And these are indie creators. This is what we built Geekscape for, to talk to storytellers, both big and small, and share stories, celebrate stories, talk pop culture, get into it. And so we're going to do that right after this little theme song. Let's kick it. Let's come back with Joey and Jayel. Let's go. All right, Geekscapists. If you're in LA, I just found this out. My friend Kevin Winston, who is the head of Digital LA, he has a podcasting panel Tuesday, November 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. at Bespoke Podcasting Studio in Fairfax. If you guys are here in LA, he's added me to a podcasting panel I wonder if there's a basketball game that night. I may have to dip on this if there's a basketball game. I'm kidding. I'm a geek first and foremost, but thank you, Kevin, for inviting me to that podcasting panel. I bring that up because I was on his podcasting panel at LA Comic-Con. LA Comic-Con was awesome. If you guys want to hear our Kaiju versus Giant Robots panel or our live Geekscape from LA Comic-Con, it's there in the feed. Go check it out on any podcatcher you listen to. Maybe that's the Twitch. What do you got? We got the Apple Podcasts. You got the Spotify. You got some weird, like vague ones, like Pod Dog or something like that. You know what I mean? You start hearing about these ones that are like Snot Pod. I don't know. But there's so many podcatchers out there. Maybe you listen on one of the vague ones, but Geekscape's on all of them. And LA Comic Con was amazing. I got to take my little girl. She wasn't even 3 months old at LA Comic Con, and it was amazing. And then I took her to Revenge of, that awesome comic book store over in Eagle Rock, because Patton Oswalt had this huge convention, and I got to see all our friends, David Bohr and Brian Buccellato, who was on that Giant Robots versus Kaiju panel with us at LA Comic Con. And we saw Jordan Morris, who's recently on the show, and we saw creator after creator, and I got to like introduce them to my daughter. So she's growing up comics, baby. That's what we're doing here at Geekscape, growing up comics. 19 years of running. All right. Jayel Draco's in the chat. He says, what about Podcoin? Yeah, maybe Podcoin's one, but I don't know anything about Podcoin. Okay, enough. I don't know anything about anything. You're going to learn if you're a new Geekscape listener. I'm about a mile wide and an inch thick on all this pop culture stuff. That's why I have people like Joey and Jayel on to talk comics with me, so they can be the experts. They're the experts. They're the boots on the ground in the comic book world. So let's invite them right now. We got Joey and Jayel. How are you guys? Welcome to Geekscape.
How's it going?
Glad to
be here.
How are
you? Sorry, if I take 2 weeks off. If I take a week off, there's a lot of catching up to do, and that's on me, guys. I apologize.
No worries at all.
Yeah, you guys do your own shows as well, right? Like, look how professional Joey's mic is, and then Jayel, you broadcast every Tuesday, Thursday nights, right?
Yeah. I do art, and actually, when I first met Joey, he was doing podcasts and shows, and I was a guest on a show several times, and used to hang out in his chat. He hangs out in my chat,
But what is this? I never been invited to no chats. Maybe it's because I talk so much, but I ain't good for no chats. I take over chats. It's not good. Kevin's going to find that out on the podcast.
Keep the chat going.
That's why you make podcasts, right? So because you love the sound of your own voice. And
do you listen to your podcasts after you record them? And Matt Kelly's going to scream at me, who runs our network. But like, there are people who are like, you got to listen to the show after you record it. It's the only way you get better. And I do edit them. I trim some stuff down if I catch it, but it makes my skin crawl to hear my voice.
I'm really bad. I'm one of those guys who is very, very so I'm an audio engineer, right? So I am very meticulous. So when it comes to like podcast editing, I have to listen to the whole thing in its entirety and clean that thing and mix and master it. So like I go too far.
I think that's the Matt Kelly method. We endorse that here at Geekscape. I just don't on the flagship show because I'm lazy. Jayel, I mean, Joey, talk about that show. Jayel, talk about that show. Like, what are these shows that you guys are doing that you haven't invited me on, and it's okay? I have a face for radio. Here we are, podcasting.
Well, Jayel, go first because you have a really you have an ongoing show that is fantastic. You do it every single week.
So I stream on twitch.tv/Jayel Draco every Tuesday and Thursday evening. And I'm generally working on whatever project is next up in my production queue. So like if I have, Kickstarter plans, say my next one is Tracy Queen in spring. So between this Kickstarter to the next one, if you pop by, I'm probably going to be working on Tracy Queen, unless I'm doing a commission or a live stream sketch or something like that. And we got a really supportive, great community. There's a lot of regulars, there's a lot of quasi-regulars, and then there's always, new friends popping in, and it's wonderful.
Talk about the trolls.
Enjoy it.
What are the trolls? On Twitch, you always have those people like passing through, and they're like,
we really have done a good job just getting rid of trolls. I have like several mods in chat with the banhammer ready, and the thing you're most likely to see at this point is bots that are just like trying to sell something, and they
Sure.
just get vaporized immediately. So
Yeah,
actually,
we get those on the YouTube every now and then. Yeah.
a few of my mods are here in chat. Yuki and Abstracto are both mods in my channel, and they
I will say that I may have
quick.
I may have been on the wrong end of a ban hammer at least once or twice in his chat. So I'm
What did you do? What did you do to deserve that?
I probably said something.
Foul humor. Taking the joke a little too far and then getting banned for like a minute. A light slap on the wrist. Like it's like spraying the cat with a spray bottle or something.
This isn't like cruel. This wasn't a permanent ban.
No. It's like you get timed out for like a minute or whatever.
Oh, that sounds. A minute's fine.
Yeah, that's like
we should have that here.
Yeah.
We should. I think Abstracto or Yuki. They're yeah. Hi, Yuki. How are you?
Yuki.
Hey, how you doing, Abstracto? Like maybe they should pop into Geekscape and be like, yo, this Ray Romano looking dude is going on too much. Like he needs to shut up and let the guests talk. So I mean, maybe
you
we're
can't
hiring.
mod the host. The hosts are unmoddable. Hosts and guests cannot be modded.
They got 19 years of this stuff. They can go back and feed if they can listen to that stuff. Feel free to fill in the gaps. There's all sorts of Geekscapes there in the feeds over on Podcoin or whatever the heck it is. And then I don't know. Yeah, like Pod knows. It's like, wow, what are we doing here? Yeah. And then Pod's not. We got Joey.
Yeah.
Talk about Geek Collective, because you're the CEO of this Geek Collective. You're the owner of the Geek Collective. What is this Geek Collective, man? Like, convince me what the Geek Collective is, because you got the banner behind you. You got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so we are we're a creative comic book art studio. We also have a podcast network. We're also doing advertising. We do publishing and everything in between. So what we do is we actually help creators from concept to shelf and everything in between. And we'll even
too late for me. I'm sorry.
So that's what we do, and we even help seasoned professionals like Jayel. We're a part of
the word professional is the problem here.
So, and we'll even help those
and amateurs. Joey's also
we help everybody.
People getting their start.
What if you've been doing the wrong thing for 19 years? Is there a rehabilitation clinic that maybe you do for creatives?
Too late.
Yeah, never too late. And there's listen, I am an advocate for like you don't do the wrong thing, right? You do the right thing possibly at the wrong moment, right? So it's and then marketing is this crazy beast that is always ever moving, and you can never really land it down. You have to move along with it, right? It's this crazy, like it's like Jayel's been down the Grand Rapids, right? Like some rapids, right? So
Joey and I are always talking about this. Like it's always changing. And strategies that work for one person might not work for another, or strategies that worked last month might not work this month. It's
nuts.
It's really that virulent.
You just hold on, for as long as you can and ride that beast.
Yeah,
guys, we're looking at doing a Kickstarter early next year for this here, the Prophecy comic, and I don't want it. Will you just convince me? No, I'm not doing anything. Sorry, it's all canceled. Guys, that's crazy.
No, hire Joey.
No, and that's exactly what it is, right? And people do that, and it's daunting and it's scary. And if you don't know what it is, it can be like a life-altering thing where you're like, I'm never gonna do that again, right? But when you talk to people like Jayel or myself who've done it a few times, and it gets less daunting, and we give you tools that you can walk away next time more confident to be able to do it on your own as well.
I don't know, guys. It's gonna be a pretty heavy digging tool for me, man. Like this guy. You guys have heavy machinery over there?
Yeah, you need like the Caterpillar.
Whatever.
Caterpillar.
I need that fuck. I need fuck the Caterpillar. I need that one transformer. I need the transformer that combines and turns into that stuff. Yeah, I need that green and I want that green and purple transformer that is all the construction pieces. Devastator, something like that. Like I need that.
Yeah. That was a Decepticon, right?
Voltron.
Yeah. Well, listen. Yeah, Voltron ain't gonna help me, man. I need the heavy machinery, the building tools.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually feeling really good about the comic because we have some beautiful, talented, wonderful people on the comic, and they work for Dark Horse and Image and all these great places, and many
And
of
you
the
have a great
professionals
platform to
Yeah.
promote it already built.
we just
Now
have
you just need to hire someone to help you build out your page and come up with
guys.
a PR plan. I
Geekscape
might know someone. I could probably give you a referral
Geekscape
from
has
one.
just been me trying to create that network for a long time, and it's helped me a lot in film.
Yeah.
But now I'm entering a little bit of comics. My first
Yeah.
love. And we'll see. I've had a lot of great professionals, like some of the ones I listed at the beginning of the show that I went to see over at Revenge of, like they've really helped me along. But I'm scared all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
It is scary.
And ultimately I wanted to launch it earlier, but I can't launch a child in a Kickstarter at the same time.
Don't launch a child.
Yeah, don't launch
She
a child.
bounces. On my knee. On my
They do
knee. on my
say
knee.
kids are resilient and malleable, right?
Yo, I heard this kid. We dressed up as Mario, Peach, and a little star. Like our niece
Aw,
made a
yeah.
crocheted like a Mario star for Halloween.
That's awesome.
And as I was getting her dressed for this Mario star for this Halloween, I'm tickling her, and she laughed for the first fucking time. First time. And Heidi and I
Little
heard it at the
star
same time.
laughing. Like I think I saw
Yo,
a gif of that.
It was crazy.
That's
This
awesome.
sound.
That's
She'd
so
been
cool.
smiling for a while, but this sound,
Sure.
and suddenly,
Like
I mean,
a real
I've
laugh. Yeah.
been straight edge my entire life. No drugs, no alcohol. That's the way I go. But I was like, put that in my veins again. And I haven't been able to replicate it until this morning, almost 2 weeks later. I got her to laugh again, and I'm like, yes, the drugs. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, when he shoots the syringes into that chick. Like, I'm like, yes, do it. What a rush. Remember Freddie's like, what a rush, like that. I was like, oh my goodness, that was amazing. So guys, you guys are constantly creating stuff, and that's why I brought you guys on here. I found you guys in this creator chat we have on Facebook that Barbara Dillon and our friends created, and I love that supportive community because I'm going to obviously need it fairly soon.
Oh, yeah.
And Jayel,
Yeah,
you and Joey, really, Jayel was pimping you out, dude. He was talking about this new Archetypes project that you have, Joey, and he's like, yeah, we're launching this brand new Geek magazine, and I'm a fan of the old school Wizards and all that stuff. But I was like, oh, tell me more about that. So I want to
Joey and
ask
I
you,
actually we do each other's PR. I PR his PR for my PR. It's pretty it's like PRception, right?
do I need to get banned on your show for you to do my PR, sir?
maybe that might be
get banned from Joey's show.
Oh,
I don't mind that.
all right, okay.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. But that's the whole reason why when I like came up with this idea for Archetypes, I was throwing it out there, and I was like, well, what can I do? Because I want to create something. I've been this huge, geek for my whole life. I wanted to create something. I'm not good at drawing, right? I can't draw. I can't really color either. I was always a kid that colored outside the lines, right? So I was never that kid. So, but I do have ADHD. And ADHD is good for design, right?
It's a superpower.
It's
a superpower.
And possibly talking too much, right? So, so I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna go and create some stuff. So I got into designing comics and designing all these different things because I would really love creating like logos for the podcasts and stuff like that when we first like were building that thing out. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna dip my toe into this a little bit, and so long story short, got into the graphic design and all that stuff. So now we're creating this magazine where like we have all these people that are involved that when I was trying to figure out how to do this stuff, I was like, I couldn't find anything. And the person that I usually went to was Jayel, because Jayel has been in this industry for a long time. Or people like my pal Benjamin W. Morris, who is in the chat. He's an illustrator, he's a cartoonist, right? And he's been in this industry for a long time too, right? But they started getting a little annoyed because I started asking them too much questions. So I was like, well, why don't we gather some stuff together and put it into a magazine so that I don't have to ask them questions, number one, and maybe other people can get their questions answered, right? So that's why we created Archetypes, because I wanted a tool out there not only for people to find comic books, but also to dip their toe into creating themselves, because everybody's got an idea or have seen a movie or wanted to create something out of it, right? There's reasons why people are like, oh my gosh, that's a podcast, right? And people also say, oh my gosh, that's a comic book or that's a book, right? So we wanted to give them tools and access these things that wasn't so easy for me to find when I was looking for that stuff. And we put it all and compiled it all into archetypes, but we wanted to do something different. Like we wanted to create something like Wizard Magazine or like Shonen Jump, right? And where it's mix of comic books, articles, and artwork, and everything in between, and giving it back to the community as well.
And I think Giant Robot also is hitting like a pretty big, like anniversary this year. I know that the Japanese Cultural Museum here in Los Angeles is doing a big thing with Giant Robot here coming up, and I was like, damn, I should go down there and check out this party that they're throwing, or this week-long celebration that they're doing in celebration of that anniversary. The thing I want to hear about is, like, ultimately when I look at the podcast landscape, and this is going to sound really terrible, but I have a reason for it. In 2020, we had an explosion of podcasts, right? The pandemic was upon us. And I think a lot of podcasts got started, and most podcasts really, it creates a glut because the average podcast lasts like 6 episodes. And I'm somebody who grew up wanting to do radio. I discovered radio in college, did radio all through college. And then I missed it when I came out here as a filmmaker. And I said, what can I do? What can I do? And here's podcasting. There were like 3 podcasts in 2005 when I started this. There were like 6, and now there's so many, and how do you even find this stuff when there's the magazines, the fanzine stuff that now has become a magazine, right? You have Geek, you have the big corporations doing podcasts. This is kind of where I'm going with this long-winded thing. You got big corporations doing podcasts, and now you've got big corporations doing the geek thing. Like, we've seen what Comic-Con's done since we started exhibiting in 2010. Like, how do you keep this grassroots? How do you get the shelf space? How do you get it to people's eyeballs? I guess we're talking about marketing again. And then how do you avoid some of the pitfalls to get attention like Wizard did, where Wizard, by the end of it, I don't think that was a very nice magazine. I think they were doing things that was kind of like, I think they were picking fights, and they were kind of gatekeeping a bit. And does that make sense, guys? Not to throw anybody under the bus over at Wizard. I know we collaborate with some of them still, because some of them are still in the convention game, but like, talk to me, because that's a big endeavor, and there's a lot to think about, a lot of plates to spin.
Yeah, it's daunting, right? And that's one of those big scary things to think about, to kind of look at what these other magazines or these other people have done, right? And say, how can I not, make these same mistakes, right? And I think that's why I feel like, things like Kickstarter and crowdfunding and getting people involved in the development of this process, right? And giving people who maybe didn't have a voice before, right? Because like in issue 2 of Archetypes that is live right now on Kickstarter, we have an article that's called writing with Aphantasia. And I had no idea what the heck that was when I had a creator pitch that to me. I was like, okay, I had to look it up. I had to Google some stuff. I had to figure it out. And when I read through this, and he explained to me actually what it was, and what it is it's an actual, I guess it's the thing where basically, if I'm gonna like layman's terms, you don't have a mind's eye, right? You can't really think or process things or daydream or make them, like when people have like a head canon, right? These people won't have something like that where they see a character or hear or read a character and they make it up inside their head. Well, that's what this is, that they can't have this kind of creativity that happens in their head. So they can't write, they can't draw, right? Because they can't picture these things inside their head and how to get it out. So this gentleman wrote this article on how because he's a writer, and he just actually recently put out a prose book, and he's fulfilling it right now. So he's talking a little bit about how he kind of overcame that, and how he used comic books to help him do that. And this is one of those things that we want, to kind of give people the ability to say, hey, I may have a disability and this might be hard, but I can still do it because I can work through it, and I've overcome some things. And something as silly as these funny books, right, helps this person. And we want people to understand that these things are a little bit more powerful than what it actually feels like.
In Geekscape,
just to tack onto that, I have 2 good friends in Team Oneshi who are incredible artists, both of them, and they both have aphantasia. So it is definitely overcomable. It just takes, extra work, extra practice.
Yeah.
You have to really intellectualize what imagery is, rather than just intuitively have that component of your psyche that does it for you.
It's called aphantasia.
Aphantasia.
Aphantasia, and this is something where people are just like, I'm not that creative.
Yeah.
No, it's
Well,
literally that they don't have the ability to picture images in their mind when they think. So like I could close my eyes. If someone's like, oh, picture an apple, I could close my eyes and picture the entire cutaway view of the apple, the core, the seeds, the texture,
Multiple types of
the
apples.
texture of the skin.
Yeah.
I mean, I can have a 3D model of an apple in my head rotating.
Right.
Some
right.
people, when they close their eyes, they just see black. And if you're like, picture an apple, they're like, what are you talking about? I know what an apple is. I can think about the information of what an apple is, but I can't see it in my mind. That's aphantasia.
Wow.
There are similar neurodivergencies. I forget what it's called, but there's one very similar where some folks don't have an inner monologue. They don't think with words. They just.
What if they have 18? What do I got?
Well, that is also a different neurodivergence.
Like sometimes I get kicked out of my own brain and they're just having conversations without me.
Yeah, you get moderated from your own brain.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Yuki's over there being like, you're out.
No.
By the way, Yuki's very helpful. She jumped in and said, the green and purple transformer is Devastator. It's a Constructicon.
Constructicon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Yuki. I can see why
Yuki.
awesome.
That's exactly why we keep Yuki around.
Yuki knows
they have
so
all the
much about so many things.
She also said I can't talk for 3 minutes.
No. Yuki is the sweetest person on the planet.
Yeah.
She would never say that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
unless you tried to like sell us viewers or something. Then she'd ban you right away.
I can barely sell my own podcast. I gotta push it over
Okay.
here. So you talk about this archetype comic, or it's not a comic, sorry, Geekscape. It's a geek culture magazine, but the geek culture magazine also has a creator bend that none of these other ones had, which is kind of what I think is cool about it. It's like you read Wizard magazine and they're going to give you like the fan casting. They're going to give you the articles about the new stuff coming out or the indie stuff or the corporate stuff or this and that. They're going to have the price guide we don't need that anymore. We got the internet. We got conventions. Everybody's doing that stuff. There's conventions everywhere. There's multiple conventions every weekend across the country, around the world. And the creator aspect is what I like on this stuff, Joey. The fact that like you pick up a copy of our Archetype, whether it's an $8 digital issue or you get first 2 issues for $13, they're on the Kickstarter. And you know, maybe you start putting yourself forward with this creativity. You start kind of collecting stuff. I think that in that way, it's almost like what's the name of the magazine here in the industry that's like cinematography? There's a cinematography magazine, and I would read interviews with cinematographers, and they kind of got a little redundant to me because I'm a director, but not a cinematographer. But I like reading it because I could talk to cinematographers about stuff. But it was really like reading interviews with cinematographers and how they tackled certain films or TV shows, basically becoming the arsonist and the firefighter. Like, this is the problem that I had, and this is the way that I put it out and solved it, and these are the solutions. It really helped my technical ability to read that. But this is what it feels like is an element of Archetype. It's like these are some of the nuts and bolts things that will help you create.
No, absolutely. And what I wanted to do was create something exactly like that. When I was first trying to get into like podcasting and stuff like that, I was looking all right. I was looking all over the place. I was like, okay, because I'm the type of person who has to learn about the thing that I'm doing all the way through. Right, that's my ADHD.
Before you do it,
right? Yeah, before I do it, I have to know it inside and out. So what I did was I researched how to podcast and all these different things, and I stumbled across this really cool podcast about podcasting, and it's like this little masterclass within itself. And every once in a while I go back and listen to it, and not only do I implement some of those things in like podcasting or live streaming, but I also implement it into like my daily life and stuff like that when I do things. And And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I wanted to create something like that for creators. Again, I'm going to go back to this, for creators who really don't know the first step to take to get into this stuff, right? And if they're looking for this stuff, I don't want it to be so hard for you to find it. I want you to be able to find it here. And I know a lot of these really great industry creators because from stemming back from my podcasting days, I would interview comic book creators about their books that are coming out in the direct market or on the indie scene, and slowly I started to see this shift from the direct market to Kickstarter. So that was a new thing, and we started talking about Kickstarter and stuff like that.
It's a
And
different ecosystem. It's a
completely
totally different ecosystem.
So, and that's where I started getting very intrigued into doing this. And I said, I can get into this. I can do this. I can, this is something where I can, use my skills to benefit others. Right. And I was able, what's crazy is I was able to do that. I was able it was in like literally in the middle of 2020. I was able to quit my job and then go into business for myself, and then started doing this, and I was able to sustain my family by doing this. But not only doing this, but also helping people gain access to a funding source for their projects as well, right? And sometimes I kind of look back and be like, what if I never would have done this? How many of those people would have funded or would not have funded, or even anybody found that stuff, right? And it's kind of interesting to kind of look back and to think about that stuff. But what I really, really loved looking back and thinking about is how I loved helping all those people. And that's why I was like, oh, I want something that's going to last a lot longer than just the 30-day campaign that I'm working with these people on. So I was like, well, if I can create a magazine that's going to be timeless, right? As long as people have it in their collection, it'll be there, and that information's always going to be there. And we're going to go out there and talk to these amazing creative people who've done it for years and years and years, sometimes 30 plus years, and we're going to learn from them.
And Joey, I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick.
Sure.
Because I love you. But also, like, my audience is going to be like, well, I don't know about this guy. I do know about this guy. I like you. So far, I like you. And Abstracto says, I seen Joey do it. He's really skilled at it. Most of the time, it's even with clothes on. Very impressive. And Geekscape is listening to this on audio. That is a verbatim comment from Abstracto. So that's hilarious. Joey, seeing you on Kickstarter, like, I look at your Kickstarter. I like your Kickstarter. But when I look at your profile, you've created 2 Kickstarters. Why not many? Like, does that make sense? Like, you understand where I'd be like, wait a minute, this dude's telling you how to do a Kickstarter. He got 2 of these fools.
So I have 2 Kickstarters, right? I have 2 Kickstarter pages. I have one that is underneath the business, and one that is underneath my own name. The business is the one that I use to help everybody, right? Because it's my branding, it's all that stuff. And then I probably messed up, and I probably shouldn't have done, Archetypes underneath my own brand, But there was a time where I was working and helping a creator where they were actually a proving creator where they couldn't run their print campaign on Kickstarter. So what I did was I let them use my Kickstarter page, and what we did was we helped them bring it to print, and bring it to distribution, and bring it to all of our fan base and everybody here out in the Americas and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why Archetypes kind of lives on my own personal account, which maybe the next time it might migrate over to the Geek Collective one. But there's a reason why. It was because I didn't want to abruptly interrupt their campaign and have 2 of my campaigns running at the same time. So I separated my different pages. So yes, Joey Galvez on Kickstarter only has 2 created, but over there on Kickstarter, you can look and see how many we've been collaborated on. We've done over, oh my gosh, it's almost 40 now, plus campaigns that we've helped fund. And I'm going to be honest, there's maybe about 3 or 4 of them that were not successful. But we learned from those things, and we some of those we went back and helped them create a brand new campaign, and then they were successful. some of them never went back and did another campaign, which is their prerogative, right? But those are the things you learn through the years and how you progress. And if some people they still even though they don't want to do it again, they understood that, hey, this might not be for them, right? And that's all we're asking, and all we're trying to provide for people is a space to make their own decisions on what they want to do with their own projects.
Okay, that's the Geek Collective, Geekscapists. In the words of Shaq, I'm sorry, I was unfamiliar with your game. All right. Jayel, this Oneshi press thing. You started this Oneshi press thing when you were up in New York, or what? What's the story here? And then let's talk a little bit about the Sidequests compilation. This is a comics anthology, not a compilation. It's a comics anthology that you got also going up on Kickstarter. I see that you did not run it through Joey. I'm just going to keep putting the screws to you guys. That's so disrespectful.
I am a collaborator on his project, though.
You stay out of this, sir.
Yeah, actually, out of the 21 campaigns that I've done, Joey's been a collaborator on the last, I don't know, 10 or so.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
okay.
And right at the bottom of our page, there's the little Geek Collective footer, which, Joey, I think you said you were going to get me updated copy for that.
I'm sorry, don't
listen.
Call me out right
Man's
here.
trying to run a business. Man's trying to run a business, and you're doing this.
I'm just saying it's outdated. That's my bad.
That's my fault.
I meant to stay on Joey about it, and we talked about it, and then I just didn't get that copy. We'll be updating that.
All right,
but
okay.
So, all right. Sometime I think it was back in like 1783. I was living in New York. I was like 62 at the time. Young person.
As far as like old gods go, yeah, I guess.
Young elder god. Sure. No. So yeah.
My first tentacle.
I was working on a comic called Pack back in 2012. And I had, an 8-page sample that I did and then redid again. And then I got it to where I kind of liked it and I was wanting to move forward. And at the time, I had met Lindsay G, who is the co-founder of Oneshi Press. And she similarly, but oppositely, had a story called Tracy Queen that she had rewritten, and was like trying to design it, but is not as much of a visual artist,
Okay.
And so we got to talking, and at the time, I had a lot of experience in the, illustration and film and animation. I was working for Neil Adams at Continuity Studios. I had done work for Marvel, for Dark Horse, for DC. I'd worked on a lot of different projects, and I had a lot of experience, and I had some chops in visual art. And now Lindsay had been a writer for many years and had been published in more magazines than I could possibly rattle off. And she was working at Penguin Random, the largest publishing company in the world, as a production editor. Big deal, it's really a big deal. So we both
How'd you guys meet? How'd you guys meet? Give me a human story. How'd you guys meet?
Okay. So I was on Model Mayhem looking for local models to do some photo shoots with, to design some characters from my series Children of Gaia, which I'd been working on since the mid-90s.
And that's just Instagram today, Geekscapists. Today, that's
basically
just Instagram. There ain't no Model Mayhem today. Wait, there's not a Model Mayhem today, is there?
I think there is, but I don't think anyone uses it. I think it's all bots.
Okay, only
it's all bots advertising to each other. I don't know.
Oh my god.
So
some thigh.
I'd come across Lindsay's profile, and she had something mentioned, because you can put up like ideas for things you want to work on, and she had something mentioned that was like wanting to do like a fantasy fairy photo shoot idea, and I was like, perfect, let's meet up.
Wait a minute. So you met her. She was a model. You're leaving that out. She was a model.
Yeah, no, I went to her model page, and I was gonna work with her as a model, and we were gonna collaborate on this like fantasy photo shoot, And
dream, I'm just telling you, he's living the
dream.
dream.
Day we went to meet up, she had like an art show, like been scheduled, like I think it was like 2 days later, and she was running her final edit for these videos that were part of her art show, and several of the video files were corrupted. And so she called me and she's like, I'm with the editor now. These video files are corrupted. I don't know how long it's going to take. Do you want to cancel? And I was like, nah, I'll wait for you here at Penn Station. I'm in TGI Fridays.
It's
I'll
hard
get you
enough
a
for us
drink or
geeks
something.
to meet up with anybody. You're sticking to it.
Yeah,
You can't let
yeah.
no fish comes off the hook in our books, all right? Not that you're gonna
Right,
stalk
so-
anybody, but like
No.
like,
I mean, if she was like, go home, I'm not coming out, I would have been like,
yeah,
okay,
I can't do
see you
it.
later.
This is a
But she was like,
disaster.
oh, I feel
She was
bad
freaking
making you
out.
wait. I was like, nah, don't feel bad, like
Bottomless fries,
whatever.
TGI Fridays.
So, it was one of those things where like every hour it was like, oh, it's still going, it's going to be a little longer. And I was like,
Bro,
all right. So I'm just doodling in my sketchbook, drinking, whatever, hanging
eating
out.
chili poppers,
Yeah, exactly.
nachos.
And like
What else did you eat?
mozzarella sticks and whatever.
Mozzarella sticks. Okay.
Yeah. And so she finally shows up, and it's like a few hours late. They called last call, so I bought her like one of those big margaritas and just like waited. And she shows up, and I like handed her the drink, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're a lifesaver."
We got to get out of here.
So we go back up to her apartment in the Bronx, and we're like, she's just so stressed out. I'm like, dude, let's just hang out and like whatever. We can like do some fun photo shoot, but like we're not going to do a big production right now. We're like, it's late, you're exhausted, clearly
That's how he
stressed
does it.
out.
Yo, this sounds like a date, bro. This sounds like some crazy
It quickly
date
became
thing.
one. It quickly became one. So
did you hear that move? He's like, yeah, corrupted file. He's hanging out at TGI Fridays. She had to go to TGI Fridays down in
it was
town.
on her way home, to be fair. It was on her way home where I was waiting for her. So because she had to come in from Queens to go back up to the Bronx. So that was her transfer.
But it's gonna this will be real. This will make me real happy. Was it raining and you had to put your jacket down so she stepped on it?
No, I don't think I had a jacket. I rarely wear jackets.
Because that would be so dreamy right now.
But I did help to fix her corrupted video files and help her set up her art show. I
that night?
In sick to work. No, the next day.
Yeah.
I called in sick to work. And
he had a reason to come back.
Come back. It sounds like they spent the entire time together. That sounds like it was an unbroken day for like
all night,
48-hour unbroken day.
I'm not going to work,
But you went to the art, but you fixed the files and you showed up at the art studio, and then she had a show and all that stuff.
We got it done.
Y'all are married now?
And she was like, this is amazing, and now we're married. So,
dude. See, because like listen to this, Geekscape. You hear how they present themselves as professionals? He's like they don't even have the same name. Oh, Jay, I'm my partner, my business, this and that, And no, I knew there was something more going on. I was like, this guy's a good-looking dude. He's well groomed. They're together. I like you go to this website. You see the website over here. Their thing, this Oneshi Press. I was like, oh, that's a couple. In the same way that if you go over to Archetypes and you see all that stuff, yeah,
you can tell Joey and I are
also Joey's with Benjamin Morse. Joey and Benjamin Morse, they got a thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Joey and Benjamin.
Totally.
I mean, everyone has a thing for Benjamin Morse. Come on.
Yeah, no, Joey's out there in the desert.
That Ben is.
He's like, we live on a farm, like we live out here.
Going back to Oneshi Press.
All I'm gonna say is Ben's got magical fingers.
Jesus.
That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, he's an artist. Come on, guys.
An artist. He molds me like clay. Sorry about that, Jayel. Welcome to Geekscape.
Lindsay had.
And that's when Yuki bans me from the chat.
Yuki's about to ban me from my own show.
Exactly. So Lindsay. Wait. Oh my God, Joey. You're messing me up here. Lindsay had Tracy
on target
writing and needed an illustrator, and I had Peck. I was illustrating it, but I needed a writer. So we joined forces on those two projects. And midway in that, early on in the development, we were like, wait, like I have years of experience in one half of this, and you have years of experience in the other half of this. Like, let's just quit our jobs and do it, So I left Continuity Studios. She left Penguin Random. And, those are two giants to walk away from. And we started Oneshi Press because we thought this is the next giant and we're going to start it together.
What kind of stuff you guys put out? Like how you cover your overhead over here, son? How do you do this? How do you do this whole thing?
So, okay.
I'm being silly.
Sidequests is a comics anthology, and it is all creator-owned comics. We're not buying these comics from our contributors. They're on loan to us for this collection, and the contributors continue to own those comics. So in that sense, we're hoping to get everyone's stuff published in one spot. Mm-hmm. Now, our goal on Kickstarter is to get this thing printed and packaged and shipped to our backers. But everything past that goal financially gets divided up amongst all our contributors. So the more all of our contributors and us and Joey push to get this funded, and the more funding we get, the more each contributor gets. Our contributors also get a comp copy, 5 copies at cost of printing, and as many copies as they want at wholesale that they can then take and turn around and sell at conventions. So there's multiple incentives there for them. The biggest one being audience sharing. As a community building mechanism, each person in there, 36 different creators worked on this, and each of them are showing it to their own respective audiences. Yeah. So every person is getting, multiplicatively exposed to new audiences by everyone else that's in it. So it really is a strong community building platform. If you look on OneshiPress.com on the credits page, our credits list of people we've worked with is actually incomplete. We're still we have to add 50 more credits onto there at least, but it's a long list of people we've worked with.
How do you not get lost in a project like that? And I'm asking as a creator, if I'm a creator in that project, in all honesty, how do I rise to the surface on something like that? Does that make sense, guys? Again, playing devil's advocate, but
I think it has to do with a lot of the community that Jayel has built around this stuff, is because exactly what he said, we kind of adopted a little bit of what Jayel has done too, like the giving back to the creators, but we also went a little further too, where we offer, when people want to submit some of their work to the magazine, we also offer all the same things on the back end that he does as well. But because we offer services for these things, what we do is we say we can give you guys a monetary value, or we can give you this much in the monetary value, or we can give you services for services rendered, some of the things that we do, right? But usually what we do is we give them a little bit more of a value, a dollar value. So if we say we give them $400, for cash, we want to give them at least $600, $800 worth of services to help them with their next project, because we're all in this together, right? So that's one of the things we do. And then we also help, we also give them comps, at least 2 free comps, and then they can buy at cost to print as well. And so the community that he's created out of creating this space where people are safe to come and hang out. He creates this space on his Twitch streams for people to come hang out, share their work. It's not all about his work. He shares other people's stuff.
I love pointing at other people's work
and that's
what Geekscape's all about.
And what's cool is people within his group and within his Twitch have collaborated with other people who've seen when they show their work, they've gotten together and done little side deals.
Have you guys gotten kids yet? Guys, when I've been doing this 19 years, we have kids. Geekscape is meeting together. Married, awesome. Kids.
We have lots
these
of
fucking people have kids now. I feel bad if the kid's weird looking. I feel bad. I'm kidding.
Joey's drowning in kids. Every time I look at Joey,
he lives on
12 more kids on him.
Because he lives out in the desert on a colony.
Yeah,
him
it's
and Benjamin.
A cluster.
There's no time zone
animal.
Changes.
Joey's just dividing.
It's we just live off the land,
But no, I think Jayel's set up this really cool space around him. This around Oneshi Press, that people want to naturally talk about the projects that they're a part of when they're a part of an Oneshi Press project.
Cool. And
And I think also, a lot of times we've had people who are like writers on one story hire someone who is an artist from another story. When we have a story that we need to hire artists for, I go right to my anthologies.
of course,
I'm not gonna like go anywhere else. I already have hundreds of people that I've worked with in my anthologies. That's my Rolodex. That's my portfolio. Like I go right
And you
to
vetted
people
them.
that submitted to our
You vetted them.
anthologies. And
Yeah.
I've vetted them. I've worked with them. I know
You know how
who's
fast they are.
reliable, who's on time, who's worth the wait if they're not, like
Yeah.
I know all these people, like when we work on a project like this, it's months of communication with all of these individuals. So I know exactly who to hire when I need something done,
You still go to
and
TGI
also I
Fridays?
like to see that, people end up becoming friends with each other.
Do you still go to TGI Fridays? Do you guys
No.
you guys have meetups?
No,
at
I haven't
TGI
gone
Fridays?
since. That was the last time
Get
I
the
ever
fuck
went.
what? You
I
guys
think-
should
wait,
have
I think I've
like
been to
whenever
like
you
an
guys release
Applebee's
the,
or two since then.
yeah, it works. But you
Same
guys
thing,
should have
right?
like these get-togethers at like a
Chef
Chili's.
meetup. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
You should do like a Chili's
Actually,
get-together.
So
If you guys come to
Adrian-
San Diego Comic-Con, let's go to Chili's.
Okay, fair, done.
Okay.
Um,
Matt Kelly's gonna be like, no, we're gonna go to Spaghetti Factory, and I'm like, no, let's go
Spaghetti
to Chili's.
Factory, Chili's,
Whatever. We gotta go to some
both.
big,
Both. We get
some big,
appetizers
like,
at one,
Americana
entrees at the
restaurant.
other, and then
I'd be
we
like-
go to like TGI Fridays for drinks afterwards. Drinks and
I
shit,
don't- You guys
Hit
can
all
drink.
three.
You guys can
Oh,
drink.
yeah,
I'll
you
sit
don't
there
drink-
with- I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
cheese
could
sticks.
drink like a
Bottomless Diet Cokes. Let's go crazy.
Yeah, bottomless Diet Cokes. They give them to you in this big fish
But
bowl.
if I end up in a freaking apartment jail and you're helping me make video corrections and you're taking photos of me, I know your game. I know what you're
You
about.
make it sound so much more
know-
devious than it was.
I know what you're about.
just
I was gonna
hoping for
hire
them.
you to model for me, and then next thing you know, you're married. Well, I'm already
Wow.
married, pal.
Wow.
All right, and I don't live on
I'm
a
quick with a
colony
wedding
like
ring. You gotta be
Joey.
careful. I'll just slide it right on.
Oh boy, oh boy.
It's like ring toss. I'm just like across the room.
Gotcha.
Tossing
It's
wedding
connected
bands
to a
on your
little
finger.
chain. Guys, I've been trying to read comics. Guys, I used to read comics voraciously, and now with the kid, I'm reading like comics like once or twice a week. And I just caught up on Local Man, my buddy Tony Felice's book, and I got so sad because I love that book. It's my favorite book, and I had to text Tony, who's on this road trip for Feral with Tony Rodriguez, and be like, "Bro, you can't just leave me like this. Like I caught up.
That's a good book.
You can't
when
you
you're,
can't
like,
just leave me like this."
Furious for the next one.
What are you guys reading that maybe the audience, because we're gonna support you guys. Like the audience, I want you guys to go out through the Kickstarter and look up the Archetypes.
I mean,
I want you guys to look up Sidequests.
those two
What are you
guys
guys reading?
Those guys you just named, they're great guys. They're actually Tone used to be local to here in Arizona. He was
Yeah.
He was one of our local guys.
He moved to Baton Rouge. He moved there from near where I'm at now, and we've been friends for a long time. And what do you guys read now? Like, what do you guys read beyond the work that you guys are doing? Like what do you consume to like refresh that mind jelly? Because whenever I direct or whenever I do film or anything, or when I create comics, guys, I'm really
I can
proud of
answer
this
for
comic.
both of us.
What do you guys
Joey's reading grade school homework to make sure that the kids did.
For 20 kids.
No, I'm kidding, Joey. You answer and then I'll answer.
It's usually me. Like my wife's like, all right, they need help with their work. I'll be like, oh, I got a meeting. I got a meeting to go.
You
to.
son of a.
I got a meeting. Sorry, I gotta be on
get on the
podcast.
TGI Fridays and
I gotta go
Jayel.
talk to Jonathan and Jayel. Sorry.
Jayel has to fix some corrupted files for me.
A spoon comes in from off camera and smacks you.
If I come back with an extra wedding ring, don't be surprised.
No, listen, it's really hard for me to read any comics right now because number one, I'm running this stuff, doing all this stuff. I'm also on the side to kind of supplement some of the work for myself, like on the side. I also design and lay out books for pre-press.
Which is a lot of reading. You're reading a lot of books.
A lot of stuff. So I'm
you're
reading all my clients' work, right? So I'm doing all that stuff. But I would really wish that I could read a lot of the stuff from some really small press guys. Like Band of Bards right now. I'm working with Band of Bards. I am also part owner of them. They've got some really good stuff that's coming out right now. So I really love some of the things that we're dropping out of there. And
Where can we find that?
Just bandabards.com, or you guys can go to any of your local shops and ask for any books from Band of Bard, and they should be able to order them for you guys.
Okay.
We have a cool one right now that's out called Big Guns Stupid Rednecks.
That's topical.
It's exactly what it is, but aliens come. It's all aliens. It's always aliens that have right. So aliens abduct a couple of.
You're in Arizona, pal. It happens.
and right, exactly. Multiple times a year, sometimes.
How many times you've been probed this month alone, sir?
Jayel, can you answer that? No, just kidding.
I've been banned.
Sorry.
I'm banning you both. I'm just going to take over the show. Sorry.
Can I not say that? Can I say that on your stream, Jayel? I can't talk about probing.
Find out.
No.
You know,
so I guess my long answer is clients' books.
Right. And then Jayel,
so
like,
Joey stole my answer because I was just going to say, we put out these anthologies annually, and this year we had, I think it was like 120 submissions, and they all have to be read. They all have to be read carefully.
What's the worst
as we're
one?
deciding
the one that I gave.
what to put in these anthologies, and sometimes some of them are like really amazing, and we're like, well, we only really we can't do more than 20. We always push it. It's like we can't do more than 12. The next year it's like we can't do more than 14, and then the next year it's like we can't do more than 16, and now we're up to like 20 plus an intro comic, and it's like we can't do more than that. Like this book, if you dropped it on your toe, would break your toe. You know what I mean? At what point does it go from an anthology to an omnibus? Or like a
answer the question. At what point does this anthology become a quarterly or bi-monthly, bi-yearly? Does that make sense?
We were doing quarterly anthologies, and they were a lot smaller. But it was just so much work to do that 4 times a year that we ended up compressing them and making an annual anthology, which is now 4 times the size of our quarterly anthologies. Well, actually, it's grown even more than that. It's now about the size of 6 of our old quarterly anthologies.
Geekscape, you guys can find that on Kickstarter. The current one's called Sidequests, and
it's
awesome. And it's up right now. You just want to go search for Sidequests, and they each have a theme, right? I'm guessing, and this one's the road less traveled.
Well, this one, the theme is side quests. Road less traveled or off the beaten path. Those are just examples of side quests. But we like to have like a 1-word theme and then see what kind of submissions we get that either nail that theme or turn it on its head or do the opposite or have some kind of way of we don't want them to all just be the same. So we'll take some that are taking the theme very literal, some that, abstract it, or some that subvert it, or, so we like to have like a really nice mix. Personally, when I really am like, I don't know what I want to eat, my favorite thing to do is to go to like a buffet, right? Where I can get like a serving of every freaking single thing at that buffet and make like that tower on my plate. And then just try a little bit of everything. And it's like, by the end, I don't even know what I like the best. I just know that I am like happy and satisfied.
Yeah, I'm looking at the artwork.
I got everything, right?
I'm looking at these stories, and there's a real diverse offering here at Geekscape.
I will say
realism to cartooning to all sorts of stuff.
This time around, like, I'm not going to say anything bad about any of the old, other anthologies, but my gosh, the artwork in this one is so. I'm like, holy crap!
There is some.
I'm blown away with some of the artwork this time around.
There's your aliens. Okay, all right, okay, all right.
And I think the real common thread, aside from the theme, is how Oneshi it is, how much it fits our sensibilities in terms of curation. And if you've read a couple of our anthologies, that Lindsay and I wear our hearts on our sleeves and that we look for projects that vibe with our hearts, and that if you read this, you're going to be reading something made by someone who cares about the world and what they're creating and what they're sharing with the world, and really is trying to put out meaningful and, you know, deep and thinky pieces, or really fun or inspiring pieces, you know, they all have their own,
Yeah.
you know, their own benefit to them, their own medicine that's, you know, sugar coated and, you know, well presented, but there's something that each of them offers, you know, and I strongly believe in that.
Well, Geekscape is, you guys have your mission. You're going to check out these Kickstarters. I wanted to talk. I think I'm gonna have to delay the Penguin episode, Geekscape, because I wanted to talk about the Penguin season 1 because it just had its finale. I'd love to talk about it with Ian. We just talked about the Agatha All Along. You can find that on the feed if you guys finished it. I loved that series. Spoiler, I loved it. But you can hear Ian and I chop it up in the episode prior to this one on the feed. I have not seen the Penguin finale. It got away from me from a busy weekend. I'm like 2 episodes behind. But I did see the stuff that Marvel's putting out for D23 in Brazil, which is a giant market for them. And that's a new Thunderbolts trailer, which kicked ass. My friend Pascal Maria edited the new Captain America 4 trailer. And Pascal, if you guys are a longtime Jonathan before Geekscape friend, Pascal edited the Real Big Fish live DVD that I directed. Pascal did that editing, and now he's editing Captain America trailers, and he edited this new one for Brave New World that has like this line across it, and this fucking trailer is badass. You see a lot of Red Hulk, you see a lot of that stuff, so stay away from it if you want to avoid spoilers. But Geekscape is the thing I may be most excited about is the next thing Marvel has coming up, which is the 3rd season of What If in December. And it looks like it's a culmination of all the disparate stories from the first 2 seasons. It seems like they're all coming to a head, and you have all these disparate universes coming together for some big bad. It seems like the Watchers and the Celestials are really involved, at least as far as the trailer goes. But the kicker, and they talked about it, they talk about all this D23 stuff on Marvel Movie Talk over at Christian Blatt. If you're not subscribing to that, you should, or watch it here on YouTube or on Facebook where you're watching Geekscape. The end of this trailer, Geekscape, I said, I'm going to spoil this. You see a silhouette in a thunderstorm, and it's got a cape, and you're like, oh, fuck yeah, Thor is about to show up. And you hear, I am the god S of thunder. I am storm. And in What If, you get yourself an X-Men.
Love it.
You get yourself an X-Men. And technically this is in the MCU. Like the What If stuff is like the Watcher alternate universe stuff from the MCU. This stuff counts. And also the Native American character that we loved from season 2 is getting her own comic book from Marvel. So she's coming to the printed page, awesome. Harley Quinn style. But guys, as the X-Men start to come into the MCU, and you know I love that Wolverine Deadpool stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Like Storm is now in the What If season 3, at least in the trailer, and she's going to be in the season. Man, I cannot wait for these episodes. I love that series. I love the Marvel animated stuff. We live in a golden age, and like for those of y'all who are like phase 4, no, don't know, it's wonky, this and that. No, guys, muscles need to flex. We couldn't just get Avengers stories. We couldn't just get Guardian stories. We are flexing the dynamic characters that these comic books have to offer. You're going to see James Gunn do the same thing over at Warner Brothers. When you see like Mr. Terrific show up, and when you have the Authority in a Superman movie, like he's really, you're seeing the DC fandom. You're seeing when you see Crypto show up, it's Crypto's going to be in it. It's huge. We're living in the geek golden age, and those of y'all who are doubters, who were like, Marvel jumped the shark, y'all don't even know. I don't think. Like, have the faith, Geekscape. It's because comics go through ebbs and flows as well, especially the big publishers with corporate, like
everything does.
Everything goes through ebbs and flows. So keep the faith, man. Geekscape goes through ebbs and flows, but I think we got a good one today. I think we got a good one this week. I think we convinced a lot of kids to maybe subscribe to Geekscape, share it with their friends, and find out what this is all about with the archetypes and the side quests over on Kickstarter. Joey and Jayel, what they're all about. We're going to meet up at TGI Fridays at Comic-Con. Matt Kelly's buying.
Looking forward to it.
I'm down. I'm down all day.
Best place to find you guys. Best place to find you guys on socials. What do we do if we want to keep the party going? Besides go to your local TGI Fridays or in Missoula. What are we going to do?
For me, if you go to oneshipress.com, you'll get links to all of our projects.
Okay.
You can check out jaildraco.com. That's like more of my my Illustrator and
maybe some modeling, work.
Sure, why not?
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, you can also Google Jayel Draco. You can Google Oneshi Press and get endless, results. I mean, you can just keep surfing through them.
Joey, you got yourself an OnlyFans? How do we find you?
I was thinking about it, but Jayel talked me out of it.
Yeah, I talked him into the OnlyFlans. It's like a more
you make flan.
You make flan. Yeah.
You make
flan's delicious.
Share it with your friends.
OnlyFlans.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a lonely fans.
Oh,
it's just me.
Yeah, I've had that before. No, you can find me at my handle is at Joey Galvez 1984. That's everywhere. You can find the business at geekcollective.net. And find us all over the place. Check us out all everywhere that you can find social media. You can find our podcasts on ageradio.com. There's
a new one.
That's Asia Radio. That's my sister podcast network that we work with. So we have tons of really cool podcasts there. You can see all my archived episodes where I talk to Jayel and all kinds of comic book creators there as well.
I come up and chat a lot.
so you guys can check it out. Oh, and I do a live stream every single Sunday with Benjamin W. Morse where we talk about Kickstarters and we go through our guests live Kickstarters. So we do that every single Sunday at 10 p.m. EST.
Okay.
Joey, when are you gonna have me and Lindsay on to talk about?
We're gonna have you guys on next week. Come on through.
All right. Well, guys, I would love to come and talk to you guys on the shows whenever we have our Hero the Prophecy Kickstarter. I could send you guys our artwork tonight.
Yes.
But I'm hearing a baby cry. I think that's my limit on Geekscape. I love all of you guys. If you guys are watching this for the first time, subscribe to Geekscape, share with your friends, all that. We got some fun episodes coming up. We also have our Geekscape Gives charity drive for Big Brothers, Big Sisters coming up. I think it's December 6th. It's a full day live stream right here on this YouTube, on this Facebook, on this Twitch. But if you go to geekscapegives.com, you can join. You can see where we're raising money for Big Brothers Big Sisters. We've done it successfully for the last 4 years, and we're going to do it again this year. So that's coming up in December. A little bit of charity, hopefully some hilarity. That's what we do. And Geekscape loves you.
Jayel does some really cool stuff for his Kickstarter. Tell him, Jayel, what you guys do to give back.
So, you're probably talking about the One Tree Planted.
Yes, sir.
For every single backer that we have on our Kickstarter campaign, we have a tree planted through our official partnership with Global Reforestation Heroes at One Tree Planted. So they plant trees in areas where it's the most, where, their scientists or climate scientists or whatever suggest this kind of tree in this area to reforest will help fight climate change the most and help, this environment or that environment sustain. So we have a tree planted for every single backer on every single Kickstarter that we do.
All right, baby.
At any level.
I got to give this girl a bath.
Yep. Go do it.
You have your mission.
Don't hate, create. Good meeting you. Thank you so
much.
Thank you guys for coming on Geekscape.
Have a great night.
We'll talk about it soon. I love you guys.
I hope you get your next laugh soon.
I do too. Thank you guys. Geekscape is. I'll see you guys in a few days. All right. Cool. Don't hate, create. Let's go.